Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Cannell, and this is the first day of spring. So this March Mystery Madness video is going to be all about spring-related mysteries. They are all going to have spring in the title or flowers on the cover. But before we get to those, I need to give you the answer to yesterday's My March Mystery Madness Mindbender, which was: this beloved children's author set his books in the 100-acre wood. He also wrote one mystery. What was it called? And it was called The Red House Mystery, and the author is A. Milne. Famous for his Winnie the Pooh stories, which I love, he also wrote this one single mystery story. He wrote this in 1922. It is a locked room mystery, and I love the dedication at the front. To John Vine Milne, my dear father, like all really nice people, you have a weakness for detective stories and feel that there are not enough of them. So after all that you have done for me, the least I can do for you is write you one. Here it is, with more gratitude and affection than I could well put down here, A.A.M. So if you've never read his single detective story, I really encourage you to check it out, The Red House Mystery, A.A. Milne. So here are a selection of books with spring in the title or flowers on the cover. First up, Sophie Hanna, Lasting Damage. And I don't know if you can see it very well, but there are a couple of dead roses on the cover, so it totally counts. This is the 6th in the Culver Valley Crime series. This is published in 2011. Sophie Hanna is the author of the Poirot series. If you've read any of those, she continued the Poirot stories. And this series is about detectives Waterhouse and Zayler, and they are set in Cambridge in England. They are considered psychological thrillers, possibly police procedurals, since the two main characters are detectives on the police force. This is another book with a great first line. I'm going to be killed because of a family called the Gilpatricks. Isn't that great? So here's the synopsis. It's 1:15 a.m. Connie Bowskill should be asleep. Instead, she's logging on to a property website in search of a particular house, 11 Bentley Grove, Cambridge. She knows it's for sale. She saw the estate agent's board in the front garden less than 6 hours ago. Soon, Connie is clicking on the virtual tour button, keen to see the inside of number 11 Bentley Grove, and put her mind at rest once and for all. She finds herself looking at a scene from a nightmare. In the living room, in the middle of the carpet, there is a woman lying face down in a huge pool of blood. In shock, Connie wakes her husband, Kit, but when Kit sits down at the computer to take a look, he sees no dead body, only a pristine beige carpet in a perfectly ordinary room. Doesn't that sound intriguing? Your eyes tell you one thing, your husband says another. Which do you trust? Alright, and this next one is a historical mystery, Death on the Lizard by Robin Paige. This is the last in a series of 12. This was published in 2006. This is, I think these would be considered historical cozies. They are about Sir Charles Sheridan and his wife Kate. This one is set in Cornwall in 1903. Robin Paige is actually the pseudonym of a husband and wife writing team. And I quite enjoyed this series. I haven't read them all yet, but I have read a number of them, and they're very enjoyable. So, Lizard Village, 1903. It's the dawn of a new century, and telegraph companies around the world are scrambling to be the first to send a wireless signal across the Atlantic. But Italian prodigy Marconi beats them to the punch. Naturally, his feat has bruised some egos, but no one expects sabotage. much less murder. After 2 apparently accidental deaths at the Marconi station, Charles, Lord Sheridan, an amateur forensic detective and wireless enthusiast, is asked to head the investigation. Meanwhile, his wife Kate Sheridan looks into the drowning of a local girl. Soon, it becomes clear that the drowning and some dirty tricks at the station are not only connected, but also involve foreign espionage, malicious intrigue, and inexplicable messages sent out of the blue. Death on the Lizard, Robin Paige. Another historical cozy mystery is Mrs. Jeffries Wins the Prize by Emily Brightwell. This one totally wins. It's got so many flowers on the cover. It looks fantastic. So this is the 34th Mrs. Jeffries series of 38, but the 39th is set to come out later this year. This one was published in 2016. Also, prompt alert for March Mystery Madness. It has 5 words in the title. So if you're still looking for books to read, or if you've read all from your TBR and you want to read some more, you might want to check out Mrs. Jeffries Wins the Prize. Mrs. Jeffries is the housekeeper of Inspector Witherspoon of Scotland Yard. They're set in Victorian London. What would Scotland Yard do without dear Mrs. Jeffries? The ladies of the Mayfair Orchid and Exotic Plant Society are known for a bit of friendly rivalry, but the backstabbing has never been literal until now. When Hiram Fillmore, an orchid hunter and supplier, is found dead in Mrs. Helena Rayburn's conservatory, Inspector Witherspoon is called in to weed out a murderer. When it comes out that Mrs. Rayburn and her flowery friend knew each other from long ago, Mrs. Jeffries begins to suspect that there's more to unearth about this case. Now she, along with the rest of Inspector Witherspoon's household and friends, will have to dig up the past to figure out which gardening gentlewoman had a grudge worth killing for. Then I managed to find 2 from the same series that fit. One because it has spring in the title, and one because it has flowers on the cover. So let's start with She Shoots to Conquer by Dorothy Cannell. Dorothy Cannell? I think so. This is the last in the Ellie Haskell series. There are 13 in the series, and this one was published in 2009. These are a set of cozy mysteries set in England. Ellie is an interior decorator, and her husband, Ben, is a writer and a chef. And in this one, a dark, foggy night, a big, spooky mansion, and a reality TV dating show. It's not exactly what Ellie Haskell expects to find when she's stranded near the Yorkshire moors with her husband Ben and plucky sidekick Mrs. Malloy. Even more surprising, Mrs. Malloy gleefully signs on with the other bachelorettes when she learns Lord Belfry is the prize. Why some woman would kill to marry a lord, and others apparently would die. Even before the shooting starts, a would-be bride is knocked out of the game, literally in a fatal car wreck. Then another is struck by Cupid's arrow in an archery contest. Ellie is beginning to suspect that murder is a grim reality in this doomed TV production. And somewhere in the dark passageways and hidden nooks of Mucklesfield Manor, another life is about to be cancelled. She Shoots to Conquer. Next up in the same series is The Spring Cleaning Murders. This is the 7th in the series, and it was published in 1998. In spring, a young woman's fancy turns lightly to thoughts of furniture polish and dust mops. Spring cleaning fever almost has the inimitable Ellie Haskell, heroine of the weight loss wars, scrubbing the Merlin's court chandeliers with a toothbrush, turning the entire household topsy-turvy. Her husband Bentley's restaurant is being picketed by a cadre of vengeful vegetarians. Her beloved, if truculent, gardener, Jonas Phipps, is looking much too peaked for Ellie's taste. The ever-caustic Mrs. Malloy has given notice and gone off to London to look after her new granddaughter, and Ellie herself is swept by the urge to redecorate all of Merlin's court. But when members of the Chitterton Fells Charwomen's Association start biting the dust, Ellie must drop everything to discover what dark secrets the victims had swept under the carpet. The Spring Cleaning Murders. Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca. Look at this gorgeous edition. This is a Virago Modern Classic, and it has these beautiful red flowers on the cover. It's very shiny, so I hope that you can get a good shot of this. This is a gorgeous edition, and it is brand new, and I was super excited to find it in the thrift store for $1. Anyway, enough gushing. Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca was published in 1938. It is famous for the first line, "Last night I dreamt I went to Manderley again." It has an unnamed narrator, which is very interesting, and it has never gone out of print. Working as a paid companion to a bitter elderly lady, the timid heroine of Rebecca learns her place. Life is bleak until, on a trip to the south of France, she falls in love with Maxim de Winter, a handsome widower whose proposal takes her by surprise. Whisked from Monte Carlo to Manderley, Maxim's isolated Cornish estate, the friendless young bride begins to realize that she barely knows her husband at all. And in every corner of every room is the phantom of his beautiful first wife, Rebecca. So I believe this would be classified probably as suspense. I think it's classified as awesome. If you've never read Rebecca, you should totally check it out. Also, this edition has an afterword at the back of the book. I recently watched somebody do a review video about Rebecca, and their copy had a foreword before the story started that gave away all the spoilers, and this person read the foreword first. So way to go, Virago Modern Classics, for making it an afterword instead of a foreword. Antonio Manzini, Spring Cleaning. This is the fourth in the Rocco Schiavone series. There are 4 in that series. This was published in 2019, and it has been translated into the English from Italian. The main character is the deputy police chief, and it is set in Italy. And this book picks up 3 days after the events of the last book in the series. So I'm not going to give you any information because I don't want to give any spoilers away. This appears to be a series that you should read in order, but I wanted to highlight it because, of course, it had spring in the title. So if you are interested in police procedurals, if you enjoy mysteries set in European countries, maybe you want to check this out. Antonio Manzini's Spring Cleaning. Another historical mystery, and this is a series that I really enjoy. This is The Winter Garden Mystery by Carola Dunn, and this has a whole bunch of flowers here on the front. This is the second in the Daisy Dalrymple series. There are currently 23 in that series, and this one was published in 1995. They're a historical series set in England in the 1920s, and Daisy Dalrymple is a journalist doing a series of articles on country manor houses. The Honorable Daisy Dalrymple, having decided to make her own living rather than live with her mother in the dower house, has found success with her series of articles on country manor homes. To research her latest piece, she travels to Occles Hall. What she finds is a household under the thumb of the ill-tempered and demanding Lady Valeria, and the discovery of the body of a pregnant maid buried in the winter garden does nothing to improve Lady Valeria's mood. A young Welsh undergardener is arrested for the crime, but Daisy is sure of his innocence. Wary of the air of secrecy that permeates Occles Hall, Daisy convinces Alex Fletcher of Scotland Yard to investigate further, and what they uncover is a murder more complex and horrifying than either could have imagined. So if you want to get your teeth into a good long historical mystery series, I can recommend the Daisy Dalrymple series, and this is the Winter Garden Mystery. Next up This is actually a YA novel, and I didn't realize it when I picked it up. I found this also in the thrift store, and I'll be honest, it was the cover that drew my attention. These big flowers are awesome, and the title was intriguing as well. Mad Miss Mimic by Sarah Henstra. This is a standalone book from 2015. Sarah Henstra is a Canadian author, and it's set in 1870s London. One description that I saw said, Jane Austen meets Arthur Conan Doyle in a historical fiction debut for fans of Ruta Zepetis. So, that sounds intriguing. 17-year-old heiress Leonora Somerville is preparing to be presented to upper-class society again. She's strikingly beautiful and going to be very rich, but Leo has a problem money can't solve. A curious speech disorder causes her to stutter, but allows her to imitate other people's voices flawlessly. Servants and ladies alike call her Mad Miss Mimic behind her back, and watch as Leo unintentionally scares off one potential husband after another. London is also a city gripped by opium fever. Leo's brother-in-law, Dr. Dewhurst, and his new business partner, Francis Thornfax, are frontrunners in the race to patent an injectable formula of the drug. Friendly, forthright, and devastatingly handsome, Thornfax seems immune to the gossip about Leo's madness. But their courtship is endangered from the start. The mysterious black glove opium gang is setting off explosions across the city. The street urchins Dr. Dewhurst treats are dying of overdoses. And then there is Tom Rampling, the working class boy Leo can't seem to get off her mind. As the violence closes in around her, Leo must find the links among the Black Glove's attacks, Tom's criminal past, the doctor's dangerous cure, and Thornfax's political ambitions. But first, she must find her voice. And then we have Sharon Bolton's Daisy in Chains. So this one has the flowers on the cover, but it also has the name of a flower in the title, so I don't know if that's a bonus or not. He loves her not. This is a standalone from 2016. We have Hamish Wolf, who is an imprisoned serial killer, and Maggie Rose, lawyer and true crime writer. Famous killers have fan clubs. Who would join such a club? Hamish Wolf is no different. Locked up for the rest of his life for the abduction and murder of 3 young women, he gets countless adoring letters every day. He's handsome, charismatic, and very persuasive. His admirers are convinced he's innocent and that he's the man of their dreams. Maggie Rose is different. Reclusive and enigmatic, a successful lawyer and best-selling true crime writer, she only takes on cases that she can win. Hamish wants her as his lawyer. He wants her to change his fate. She thinks she's immune to the charms of such a man, but maybe not this time. I can highly recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. It was a very good read. Daisy in Chains, Sharon Bolton. James Naughtie, Paris Spring. This is the second in the Will Fleming series, and Fleming is spelled interestingly, Flemyng. This is from 2016. It's a historical thriller, a spy book set in Paris in 1968. I realize 68 is not all that long ago, but it kind of has that feel of a historical thriller. Will Fleming is a secret servant at the British Embassy. The cafes are alive with talk of revolution, but for Will Fleming, secret servant at the British Embassy, the crisis is personal. A few words from a stranger on the metro change his life. His family is threatened with ruin, and he now faces the spy's oldest fear: exposure. Freddie Craven is the hero and mentor Fleming would trust with his life, but when he is tempted into a dark, Cold War labyrinth, he chooses the dangerous path and plays his game alone. Then a bizarre murder reveals a web of secrets, and his loyalty to family and friends is tested as never before. As the streets of Paris become a smoke-filled battleground, Fleming, like his friends and enemies, discovers that where secrets are at stake, lives are too. So if you enjoy a good spy thriller, if you enjoy books that are set during the Cold War, you might like to try Paris Spring by James Naughtie. Now, these three are books that I would consider winners in this category because they have flowers on the cover and spring in the title. This is Pagan Spring by G.M. Malliet. This is a cozy mystery from 2013. It's the third in the Max Tudor series, of which there are 7. Max Tudor is an ex-MI5 agent turned vicar. That is very unusual. It's a village setting. He's the vicar at Nether Monkslip. This book was nominated for both the Dilys and Agatha Awards for Best Book. Also, I love this map of the village in the front and back end papers. I think that is just fantastic. Okay, so the synopsis. Vicar Max Tudor, reveling in his newfound personal happiness with Owena Owen, feels that life at the moment holds no greater challenge than writing his Easter sermon. With Owena away, that is a tongue twister, he looks forward to a dinner that includes newcomers to the village, such as West End dramatist Thaddeus Bottle and his downtrodden wife, Melinda. But when one of the dinner guests is found dead in the pre-dawn hours, Max knows a poisonous atmosphere has once again enveloped his perfect village. Remembrances sparked by the paintings of a famous local artist help Max unravel the clues. But can he restore peace to Nether Monkslip and still manage to finish his sermon? Pagan Spring, G.M. Malliet. Another winner in this series, Savage Spring by Mons Kallentoft. So it's got these white flowers here and spring in the title. This is another Swedish book. It is the 4th in the D.I. Malin 4 series. There are 8 in the series, and this one was published in 2013. This has been translated into the English from Swedish, and I think the 2014 is the English translation date. I'm not sure when it was originally published in Swedish. The detective is a deeply flawed yet brilliant police detective. The Swedish city of Linköping, I am not going to say that right, I apologize, is bathed in spring sunshine. The trees are blossoming and families are having breakfast at outdoor tables in the main square. Then a deafening explosion rips through the air. Broken glass and tulip petals cover the cobblestones, and 2 little girls, twin sisters, are killed and their mother is left fighting for her life. Detective Inspector Malin Force has just attended her own mother's funeral when she is summoned to the devastating scene. But although Malin is plagued with questions about her past and the secrets her mother never revealed, she must once again bury her own pain if she is to find Tuva and Mira Virago's killer before he strikes again. Savage Spring by Mon Kallentoft. And then finally, Gail Bowen's A Killing Spring. So spring in the title and flowers on the cover. There's a field of flowers here. I think they're tulips. So this is totally a winner. This is the 5th in the Joanne Kilbourne series. There are 18 in the series, and this was published in 1996. Now, again, prompt alert. If you're looking for another book for your reading list for March Mystery Madness, this is the 5th in the series, and it also has 5 letters. The author has 5 letters in her name. Bowen has 5 letters. So if you're looking for another book, maybe this is the one to pick up. This is a Canadian series. They are set in Saskatchewan in the city of Regina, and that's where I live, which is really fun. The main character, Joanne Kilbourne, is teaching at the university, and The head of the School of Journalism is found dead, and it falls on Joanne to tell his new wife. And that's only the beginning of Joanne's woes. A few days later, the school is vandalized, and then an unattractive and unpopular student in Joanne's class goes missing. When she sets out to investigate the student's disappearance, Joanne steps unknowingly into an on-campus world of fear, deceit, and murder. So here's just a few books that I was able to find that had spring in the title or flowers on the cover. Have you read any of these books? I'd love to hear what you thought of them down in the comments below. Do any of these books look interesting to you? I'd also like to hear about that down in the comments below. And before I say goodbye, I am going to leave you with my March Mystery Madness Mindbender. This long-running British series features a detective who is also a poet. So put your answers in the comment section down below, and I will see you for another video tomorrow. Bye!